So one thing I've been really focusing on and trying to figure out is how to make my parents lock in and better their health so they don't die early. Um, I'm Filipino, so a lot of people in my family, they just eat like crap, like a lot of cholesterol, or just a lot of just bad food. Filipino diet is like not the best. High sodium, just a lot of fried food. It's just not the best. And I've lost a lot of family members this past few years, and I've just been really hypersensitive to my parents' own health. And so I've been really trying to figure out how I could get them to really take their health more seriously. How can I get them to eat better, exercise, because they're not really doing any of that. And so I feel like as of recently, we've hit like a really good stride, like a breakthrough. They're actually working out and focusing on their health, which is crazy. If you're watching this, mom, dad, I'm proud of you. Sorry for in the beginning, but I kind of just wanted to share what I did, what I'm doing now, and kind of like, yeah, because I'm sure if you care about your parents, Gen Z and the younger generation is a lot more health focused, that you'd want to do this for yourself. So I kind of just want to share my story about it. So in the beginning, I was using a lot of like negative reinforcement. Like I was kind of just shaming them. Like if my dad would pick up a cupcake, I'd be like, "Are you seriously gonna eat that? This is like your 6'1". You're gonna die early." Like I was like really, um, I was really intense, and I think a lot of it was just projecting my own thoughts onto them because I wasn't really the healthiest I was trying to be, but I was really just shaming like myself. I had a really bad relationship with myself and health in general, and I was kind of just taking that out on them. And so that's kind of in the beginning, and maybe it helped a little bit. It kind of like took this. It kind of like helped this. It helped like kind of the severity of it because I'd be like, "You're gonna die early. You're not gonna see your grandchildren, right?" But that didn't really help. Like they kind of just got pissed at me. They didn't really stop, and I kind of stopped doing that after I realized what I was doing. Which, sorry, mom and dad, it was like a long time of me doing that. I kind of stopped. And the only real change happened when I really changed. When I was like working out all the time, like I wasn't pressuring them. I'm just like, oh, I'm gonna go to the gym. I'm gonna go on a walk. I was eating healthy foods. I was like, oh, and then but I was also sharing them. Like I was like, oh, I feel so good. Like, oh, look at the progress. I've lost this amount. Like I was kind of just like, oh yeah, look at this. And I would do research, right? I would learn about ketosis, the cat, like whatever stuff about like health, and then I would share them. Like, this is really interesting. Isn't that cool? But I wouldn't like be pressuring them. I was just sharing them. I would just bring them into my world and sharing what was interesting to me about like health, and kind of letting them come to their own conclusion. And I think like slowly after a while, my dad started going to the gym. He started going to the gym almost every single day, at least just like walking. Um, he started shifting his diet. Now that I'm thinking about it, I honestly think that he was just doing this because we have a wedding coming up and he wants to fit and kind of like look good and fit into his suit. But I think this is like, it's fine. I think he's still like doing really well. He was like shifting his diet. He was working out. They're getting more and more interested in like health and wellness. And even now my mom's going to the gym or Zumba classes. But basically kind of happened by just being like the example. A big part of it, I think, was the food. Like I think all they thought was healthy foods kind of like gross and takes a long time and like, it doesn't taste as good as like quote unquote like non-healthy food, which is like maybe it's true in some case. But I would cook something. Maybe I'd cook like a steak or maybe I'd cook like a healthy omelet or whatever, and I'd be like, hey, try this. Isn't that good? Right? So I would just bring them into my world and be an example. And I think slowly and slowly they just started like shifting or becoming a little more intertwined with me and my life and like my habits and my diets, and they're starting to feel a lot better. Even my dad, I think he lost like 7 pounds, which is crazy. If you haven't seen him, he's a little more on the chubbier side. And my mom doesn't really do any exercises, but now she's been going to Zumba classes and she's going to the gym, and I can't be even more proud of them. And I hope that continues because I want them to see the grandchildren. I want them to lock in their health. I want them to live longer, but also have a higher quality of life. And so I really figured out that negative reinforcement doesn't do it. Be the example. It's hard to do it if you're not at home, I know. But try to be the example. If you're having like blood tests, blood function tests, share it with them. Be like, oh, I'm trying to do this. And then if it improves, be like, hey, I did this and it worked out, and be excited. And then they'll probably start to become curious on your own. I think that really is just the only way to do it, because they have to come to the conclusion themselves. If you just tell them you need to be healthy, you need to eat this, they're not going to want to do it. They're going to go on the defensive side. So they need to come to their own conclusion and be like, yeah, I'm doing this for me, not because my son told me to do it, right? Like, who really wants to hear, like, learn from their son, I guess. But I feel like that's kind of the best piece of advice. Hopefully this works out for you. Hopefully your parents live long enough. Hopefully my parents continue this. But yeah, let me know what you think. I mean, I hope I can look back at this and then my parents are shredded. I hope they find this and they're like, yeah, I was out of shape. We'll see.